The following program is rated D for dumb.
Hello, everybody. Dave Canyon here, host of Dumbing It Down with Dave. Welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you here. I'm in the Dodge Caravan and just leaving my job on November 27th at 9:21 a.m. You want to go for a drive? Let's do it.
9 o'clock, I'm bored to death. Smoking so much I can smell my own breath. My baby left me, my best friend's not at home. Can't get that woman off my mind. I've never been the brooding kind, but there's still one thing makes me come alive. Yeah, I'm gone for a drive.
The following podcast is rated D for dumb. You're listening to Dumbing It Down with Dave, the fastest podcast on earth. Listen to Dave commute to and from work on the New York State Thruway in his 2008 Kia Rio LX. He talks about pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. Join Dave as he asks and tells you how life ought to be. And now, here's Dave.
All right. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate that. Thank you, Hal and Philly, for that great song, Going for a Drive. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Yes, that's it. I just want to thank you for tuning in. Everybody's shocked. Oh, Dave, with the thanking. Oh, and thank you to Linda, of course, Linda Irwin, of course, for the AI voice. Harry, you heard at the beginning of the show.
The following program is rated D for dumb.
Yeah, that guy, Harry. So thank you, Linda. Appreciate it with the Awesome Insanity Surfers and the AI voices and all that. Hey, everybody, welcome to the podcast. However you found it, I greatly appreciate it. It is known by some people as the fastest podcast on earth, as I do it in my car during my commute to and from work. 2 half-hour episodes a week. Sometimes we throw in a little bonus episode. Sometimes we throw in a 1 hour long episode. One of these days I hope to be doing many more live episodes and guest interview episodes. But until that day, it is me either in the Dodge Caravan, which I'm in now, Grand Caravan from what I understand, and or I'll be in the Kia Rio, and I'll be traveling of speeds starting at about 65 miles an hour or whatever the speed limit is, wherever I'm driving, usually on the New York State Thruway, and sometimes I go just a tad faster. It all depends. So there you go, fastest podcast on earth. This podcast is all about pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. What does that mean? That's a good question. Well, pragmatism is, is basically being practical, being pragmatic. You can look up the Google definition. I think there's several definitions. I don't know if there's no real person, there might be, who's like the founder of, pragmatism or being pragmatic, or there's no pragmatic movement and whatever. It's not like, Zen Buddha or whatever like that. It's just something that I have adopted as a big part of my life, because a therapist once said to me, Dave, you know why you get upset with all these things in the world? Because you're a pragmatic. So it's never been said to me. When it was said to me, then I just said, oh, okay, I'll take that. Now, it's something I have, something I am. Because, sometimes you don't know what am I? I don't know what I am. Oh, I'm a jock. Oh, I'm a brainiac. I'm a nerd. I'm a gamer. I'm a vegetarian. I'm a vegan. I'm gay. I'm into NASCAR. I'm racist. Whatever. Whatever it is that you are. But I don't have really anything. I have nothing. And I say that on the show all the time. I know nothing. I am nothing. There's nothing special about me at all. I'm just like everybody else in the world. Some days I have money. Some days I'm broke. Some days I feel good. Some days I feel bad. Some days I'm strong. Most days I'm weak. I'm almost always tired, exhausted. I think that's a big part of the problem in this country. There's a lot of sleep deprivation in the country, but not as many people as should embrace their exhaustion. You really need to embrace it. You need to go, oh yeah, I'm exhausted. You know what? I'm not thinking clearly. You know what? I'm not as strong as I want to be. I'm not as smart as I want to be. I'm just not solving these problems as efficiently and as well thought as I should. There's just a lot of sleep deprivation in this country. Like, you might not have it. You might say, oh, you know what? I don't have it, Dave. I get it. You might know you don't have it. You might think you don't have it. But there is a large population. And all you have to do is just, look at how people live. Look how they watch way too much TV. Look how they stay up late with the Kimmel, with the late night guys, which, by the way, I've done, guilty as charged. I used to stay up my whole entire childhood. I would sneak in Carson. Because my parents were deaf, and they would fall asleep, and I would watch Carson. I didn't have a TV in my room. It was in the living room. But he was like my little hero. I mean, I was little. He was my hero when I was little. And I say hero. I don't mean really hero, but I wanted to be like Johnny Carson. So I'd stay up. And by the way, by the time you're up and it's 12:30, he used to be an hour and a half. So you go on at 11:30 p.m., he'd be done by 1. I'd watch the big star, the second big star, maybe a littler star. Then there was a jazz guy or an opera person, and then there'd be a book person or an animal person. And it was like, hey, by that time, 1 o'clock, let's just stay up and watch, not Chuck Scarborough, the guy that came on after him, Tom Snyder. I'd watch Tom Snyder. And that would be an hour of Tom Snyder interviewing somebody, high profile. I'm like, wow. I mean, a little boring, but hey, Tom Snyder interviewing. I'd watch that. And I learned all about interviewing. Between Carson and Tom Snyder, I learned how to do interviews. Not that I do them on the show, but when I do, people have liked them. And I like doing them. At that point, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, you might as well stay up for the 1 hour block of Mary Tyler Moore. Back in the day in New York, on NBC TV, they would have a block of Mary Tyler Moore from 2 to 3. I'm like, all right, let's stay up and watch Mary Tyler Moore. And then sometimes, between 2:30 and 3 o'clock, I go, you know what? I just fall asleep. I have to be careful not to fall asleep in the living room, because then my parents would get up and they go, oh, look at this kid. We turn our backs 1 second. Our deaf ears don't hear him, and he's watching TV. So I had to make sure I didn't fall asleep in front of the TV. Shut off the TV, go back to my room. And then I wake up like 3 or 4 hours later to go to school, and I'd be shite for brains, which explains my whole entire scholastic career of not doing well, because I was tired. But I had built up this immunity to sleep. I could stay up and watch TV. So there you go. But I think there's a lot of people like that. Maybe not the same exact TV shows. Maybe not the same exact reasons. But too much TV. You don't have to watch The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. You don't have to watch American Idol and The Voice. Most people could stand to go to sleep at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. for that matter, and get you 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep. Maybe throw in a little exercise there. Maybe after dinner or before dinner, you don't have to watch, whatever. You don't have to, maybe you could just, go for a walk, a simple, quick walk. Okay. Anyway, so there you go. A good reason, a good backdrop to the show. Who are you listening to? Dave Canyon, truck driver, pragmatic. It's the best I can offer you. I'm always willing to admit I don't know. Always willing to admit I don't know. There's things I think I know. There's things I think I feel. There's things I know I feel. But there you go. If you're interested, I have about 270 episodes that you can catch up on if you want to get more of the background of Dave Canyon. By the way, talking to you from the New York State Thruway in New York State, going southbound. The newly cashless tolled New York State Thruway that Governor Mario Cuomo and the New York State Thruway Toll Authority have totally screwed up the roads. I did a couple episodes about it, or I've mentioned it. It's really hard to describe to you what they've done to the Thruway in words. It's more of a visual, because I'm a doubles tractor-trailer driver, which is a whole other type of truck driving. And anyway, so they've messed it up. They messed up the Thruway. Nobody would ever notice it. Nobody would ever think it unless I said it. But there's a lot of truck drivers right now going, oh yeah, Dave's right. They messed it up. And I'll give you this in words. I now do 85 miles, depending on what truck I'm driving. Last night was 87 miles. Sometimes it's 86. It also depends on a few other things. But I now drive at least 85 miles a day before I even start my route. That's how messed up the New York State Thruway is now. Think about that. If you're doing a mile a minute, which we don't, you'd have to really travel a long distance to somehow average a mile a minute, which would be 60 miles an hour. Throwing a little math at you, but I'm doing it slow. If you have any questions about the math, or if you have any more questions about anything I'm talking about, feel free to leave a comment here in the Spreaker chat box, which is also the Spreaker text box. You leave a little comment. Or you can tweet me at dumbwithdave, D-U-M-B. Or you can email me at dumbingitdownwithdave@yahoo.com. Or you can go to the contact page on dumbingitdownwithdave.com. Dumbing It Down with Dave. It's a website. I have it. It works. Go to the contact form. Send me a note because you might be listening on Spotify. They don't have a way to chat. So there you go. Just made it easy for you. And say, Dave, can you explain the math? I'll explain the math. Tell you what else you can do? You can call me. Did you know that? You can call me. You can call me at 3477-I-AM-DUMB. The letter I, the letter M, dumb. 3477-I-AM-DUMB. Well, Dave, I don't understand. How do you do the numbers? Okay, well, 347, right? You writing it down? You're going to commit it to memory. 347, that's easy enough, right? 746-3862. We repeat the 6. It's supposed to be, it rhymes a little bit. 746-3862. That's 347-746-3862. That's the Dumbing It Down with Dave dumb line, also known as the hotline. Well, it's the hotline, also known as the dumb line. All right, so you can call and you can leave me a nice 30 to 60 second message about whatever you're thinking, whatever you're feeling in regards to this or any other episode. Try to, tell me what episode it's in reference to. And keep it clean. You could be anonymous if you want. You can leave your name. It doesn't really matter. Or if you don't want me to mention your name, but you do leave your name, whatever. Just, I'm willing. I want to help you out. I want to help you contribute to the show without feeling intimidated or, inferior or, there's no comment is a stupid comment. No question is a stupid question. In the Navy, they teach you that. The only stupid question is the one that isn't asked. So ask the question. So there you go. And also, so if you're not happy with tweeting or emailing or, I'm also on Instagram at dumbwithdave. We post a lot of stuff there. We're very busy now on Instagram. We're also on Twitter, very busy on Twitter. But the website has blogs now. You can go to my website. I got 3 blogs up. Got blogs going up there now. You got the phone number and all that other stuff. But also, really cool is we got the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group. I said I was going to look it up. I think it's just called Dumbing It Down with Dave group. I don't know if it's called now I forget. I said I wasn't going to forget. I looked it up. I did look it up. And I wasn't going to forget, and I did forget. But it's not it's just Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group, I think, or Dumbing It Down with Dave group. But anyway, trying to get the Facebook to be more active. So there you go. A lot of ways to be in touch with me. Very interactive show. So the math here, 85 miles. So you do the math, it's 1 minute a mile if you're doing 60 miles an hour. 60, 65. You're going to average about 1 minute a mile. I'm doing 85 miles with a tractor trailer. Diesel fumes in the air. I'm getting paid for every second I'm doing that. So that's not good for the company because I'm doing 85 minutes or more. Believe me, it's way more. It's at least 120 minutes more of work. We used to do about 32 miles. Now we're doing 85. We've increased our mileage by 54. That doesn't even include the end of the night, which we now are doing about 10 more miles at night. And I can't even explain to you, why is it 85 when you get started, and then at the end of the day, it's only 10 more, or maybe 8 more, something like that. It's just the way it is. I can't explain it in words. I can only explain it visually. And one day I will. One day I hope to. And I hope by the time I'm ready to explain it visually, that New York State Thruway has remedied the situation. And I don't like the fact that I'm not an activist enough to have thwarted this destruction of the New York State Thruway. It bothers me every time there's an opportunity for me to be an activist. By the way, I'm not looking forward to being an activist. It's just that I'm an American. I have a voice. I have a podcast. I have a website. I have a blog. I have all these social media handles. I'm a reasonably, fairly, somewhat low-levelly intelligent person who has ideas about how things should work. You hear in the intro, Dave will tell you how life ought to be. And I can tell you right now, the New York State Thruway should not be this messed up. These people should not have been allowed to get away with what they've done. You won't hear about it on the news. They're not talking about it on the news. They're too consumed with the whole presidential thing. By the way, did I say Happy Thanksgiving? Happy Thanksgiving. And I only can mean that as much as I possibly can. Being a pragmatic, I don't do holidays. But I know you guys do. I wish you all well every day of the year. So I could say Happy Holidays or Happy Thanksgiving every episode. Because it means just as much as how are you? I hope you're doing okay. I hope all is well. It's the same thing. Happy Holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving, Happy Easter, Good Sabbath, Good Shabbos. And how are you? Hope all is well. It's all the same thing. It's all a greeting. And I'm wishing you well. My regards, all that. My condolences, all these things. They're all the same. They don't mean anything. They're just words. But you trust me, so you take stock of what I have to say. So I wish you all well. And I do. I just don't care that it's Thanksgiving. I wish you well every episode. Just know that. I'm always thinking about wishing you well. Okay, so I think that's everything right now. I think that's pretty much caught up. If you didn't, that's all the ways to get in touch with me, sure. Also, just want to give you an idea of what you've been missing if you're first tuning in. Last episode was episode 270. 270. Wanna rent a helicopter? So that's just to give you an idea of the type of shows I do. That was a fairly nonsensical episode. Do you want to rent a helicopter? Episode 269 was democracy, a definition. I sort of define democracy as according to me, but honestly, I don't remember what any of these episodes were about. 268, what now? Question mark. First of many parts. Which actually, I don't think I'm coming through with that. I mean, I will. We'll do more. We're going to do more what now. I blew that one. I should have said, I should have titled that differently. Which, by the way, this show is unscripted, right? It's unscripted. The titles are unscripted. The show is unscripted, so I often make mistakes as far as what I say and the order I say it and all this other stuff. But what now was too soon. It should have been what happened or how did this start. It should have been something a little bit more introductory in regards to the presidential election, because that's what that show was supposed to be about. I don't know if I ever really got to what I was supposed to get to. 267, election night. There was an election night show based on a suggestion from one of our listeners. Who's going to win? Episode 267. I make a very bold prediction. If you didn't hear the episode, tune in to Who's Going to Win, episode 267. You'll hear my bold prediction. You'll see, am I good at this or am I not good at predicting presidential elections? You'll find out. 266 is Scooby-Doo and Shaggy Don't, plus listeners' comments. I actually answer a listener's question in that episode. That's why it's called Scooby-Doo and Shaggy Don't. Was it 263, I think it is, or something like that? Special 1 hour recap show, What Have You Missed? And the episode before that is, So If a Chimp Rips Half Your Face Off, What Then? You like these titles? So If a Chimp Rips Half Your Face Off, What Then? I think that's the next one. That's episode 264. So that's the next episode that we're going to do, listeners' comments. Let's get to it. How much time do I have left? Oh, good. I have 12 minutes left. That's good. So we can do this. We can have some fun. We can catch up a few episodes here. All right, episode 264. So, by the way, episode 263 was, Who Refuses Free Medical Care? My dad, episode 263. Yeah, I had a really great conversation with him yesterday, but not really. You want to hear it? I'll tell you real quickly my conversation was with my dad yesterday. For those of you who have been listening for many episodes, know I have this relationship with my father where I'm not really his son, right? And he's kind of like not really my dad. I'm his business partner, but I don't share in any of the profits. Plus, he's out of business now. But in my whole entire adult life, I've been Mr. Google. Anyway, it's a long story. There's many, many episodes in regards to me being Mr. Google. But I'm always eternally hopeful that one day we'll turn the corner. We'll have this great father and son relationship. Because believe me, I am not the stumbling block in this. I am more than welcome to a great father and son relationship. Andy and Opie, Bill Bixby and Eddie's father and Eddie, Dick Van Patten and one of his many children. Whatever. I'm all open to the father and son thing. But he's not. Not with me. Maybe he has another son that he's having a good time with. I have no idea. So anyway, I called him yesterday for Thanksgiving, right? Because I'm a good son. He hasn't called me once. He called me once since my mother passed away April 18th. Right? I guess, see, then we're not going to get to listen to his comments now. But he called me once, and that was the day of the funeral. Because he wanted to complain about the box that my mother was buried in. Because we were forced into an upgrade. Because the orange pine box that we ordered was out of stock. Because we didn't do the funeral arrangements as I had prescribed for the 20 years prior to that moment. Anyway, again, another story that I've talked about ad nauseum in all previous episodes. You got to do the pre-need. You got a senior in your family, and you're going to be responsible for the funeral arrangement. It's called pre-need. It's called any funeral. You don't obligate to anything. It doesn't cost you a dime. You just say, hey, I want to find out how do I do this. And they'll help you. You go, okay, thanks for the info. Yeah, they'll take your name and number, your email address, whatever. But you're going to want that. You're going to want these people to be in touch with you. And you're going to want to lay down your needs for whoever it is that your adult, deceased person that you're in charge of. But my family wouldn't listen to me. So at the very last minute, we order a box. During the COVID, my mother dies. During the COVID. Right in the middle of it. April 18th. Everybody was losing their minds. People were dying left and right. We ordered an orange pine box. Very typical. No problem, the guy says. Many hours later, oh, by the way, we're out of stock. You know, when you hear that on your phone, when you're listening to a guy, you're trying to mourn your mom. Not me, really, but you know what I'm saying? You're trying to mourn the deceased. And then the phone rings, and it's the guy from the funeral home, which, by the way, was the most chaotic phone calls I ever got, because he always had me on speakerphone, and it's a Jewish funeral home, and there's like there's another phone ringing. People are entering and exiting the office. You know, Mrs. Birnbaum, Mrs. Schwartzberg, and they're all like, you know, speaking to this guy Pete. I think his name is Peter. No, not Peter. That wouldn't be too Jewish. I don't remember. Maybe it was Peter, but it was like they're all yelling, and this guy's on line too. This guy wants to know about it. It was chaotic. It was the middle of the COVID, the first big spike. So he calls me back as I'm trying to mourn my mom and says, we're out of stock. In my ear, I hear the words, we're out of stock in orange pine boxes. Have you ever heard such a sentence in your life? I don't think so. I bet you haven't. Dave, listen, I know it's going to sound like I'm trying to sell you up, but this is how he did it. And I should have recorded every call. I hate when I do this, when I have this series of events that are fascinating, and all I can do is go to my memory. But if I had recorded it, I'd play it for you. Because there's all this chaos in the background. Phones are ringing. He's upset. I think the lady that's interrupting him might be his mother. I don't even know. And he's telling me, Dave, you have no idea how chaotic it is. I go, well, I can hear it. You have me on speakerphone. It's almost like a comedy of errors, you know, because it's craziness. Listen, I know this looks bad, but I'm not trying to sell you up, but honestly, we're out of stock. We're out of stock. You know, I looked at the SKU number for Orange Pine Box into the computer here. I typed it in, 24635. That's the SKU number, you know. We're out of that. We thought we had plenty. We've been ordering them, and they disappear. People order the Orange Pine Boxes as quickly as we get them. In fact, we got people outside waiting for the truck right now. And as soon as the truck shows up, people they're here with cash, and they're going to go get their Orange Pine Boxes. They're going to put them in their garages. People are stockpiling. You think people are stockpiling paper towels and toilet paper? People are outside my door waiting for the truckload of Orange Pine Boxes. We are out of stock on Orange Pine Boxes. Episode 271. So now we got to pay. So all right. So okay. So how much is the next level up? What he tells me what the next level box is called. I don't remember what it was called. I don't know how to verify the truth. He could say anything he wants because we didn't do pre-need. If we had just done pre-need, then everything would have been taken care of. By the way, I know for the people who've heard the show a million times, I know, but for the people who are just tuning in, because I'm getting new listeners all the time, with a title like "We're out of stock on Orange Pine Boxes," who's not going to listen to the show, to this episode? If you had the pre-need, This is what happens when somebody in your family passes away and you already did the pre-need. This is what happens. You call, right? Somebody picks up, they go, hello, Pete, Sherman's Funeral Home. Hey, Pete, this is Dave Canyon. Hey, you remember that pre-need I did? Yes. Activate it. Okay. That's it. Thank you. That's it. Activate it. Whatever word. Engage. If you're a Star Trek guy, you go engage. Engage number 1 or number 2, whatever. That was for the Star Trekkers, the Trekkies. Apparently that was a thing in one of the shows. The guy would always say engage. Captain Picard would always say engage. So that's it. You call the guy and you tell him to engage. And everything, just all the dominoes fall into place. Next thing you know, they come for your deceased loved one, or deceased not loved one, or liked one, or hated one, whatever. And they do what they do. And guess what? You don't have to make any more phone calls. And you could mourn. You could spend time mourning instead of being on the phone. You know, being the communications director for your family or whatever role you have in your family. Yeah, it's pretty important. You're going to really appreciate me. Please, if you do that, call me back. Call me back. You know, get in touch with me. Say, Dave, I took your advice. I called the local funeral home and I did the pre-need. It's great. Everything's taken care of. There was no pressure. I'm not going to make an arrangement while I'm sad about my loved one. That's the worst time to conduct business. Because, by the way, and I know I've done like at least 1 or 2 shows about this, but you don't want to be shopping for a car. You don't want to do real estate deals. Let me tell you something, folks. A casket is a real estate deal combined with an open house because it's open casket. So you're getting a casket. You got to get property. Right, so you're buying a mobile home, which is the casket, and now you got to find a pad, which is the plot, and you're going to have to furnish it. So with the pillow and whatever it is that they do, but you don't want to get a big $30,000 box, don't you? You're like, oh, I love my mommy, she deserves the best. Yes, she does deserve the best. Wouldn't she love this Cadillac of a coffin? They're like, well, yeah, but how much does it cost? Well, right now we're running a sale. It's only $25,000. Oh, I can't afford that. No, you don't understand. We're gonna amortize it out for 30 years. It's gonna cost you $10 a day. $10 a day. That's I spend that in lattes. Yeah, well, that's $300 a month. You dummy. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. You don't need. Nobody cares about the. I can't imagine how anybody gets buried in an expensive coffin. Just wrap me up in a terry cloth towel and throw me down there and throw some lye on me. Feed me to the worms. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Anyway, so we were forced. Oh yeah, there's a point to all this. We were forced to upgrade to the next box. But we didn't know what we didn't know what any of these boxes looked like because we never did pre-need. We never did it. So now we're at the mercy of COVID. Not just everyday normal life and death. Now on top of that, it's exacerbated by the COVID. And so I get a phone call that night after the funeral. And by the way, when my father was standing over the grave, staring at the box, thinking about his wife, and I was watching him do this, thinking, is he going to jump in? That's what I was thinking. Is he going to jump in? I think he's going to jump in. But, Harold is not that emotional. He kind of just stood there, kind of took it all in. I don't know what he was doing. I don't have that really insight into my father's brain or emotional capacity or lack thereof. But I get a phone call that night. Was that really, I couldn't tell, was that really an upgraded box? I go, I have no idea. All they know is that we didn't do, and my family doesn't like me mentioning it. They don't like me mentioning it because I always harp on the fact that I've been harping for 20 years. Pre-need. I didn't call it pre-need because we got to have a lunch. We got to get together. We got to figure out the estate. We got to put it all together. Oh, don't worry. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, Dave. Oh, yeah? We're going to cross that bridge when we get to it. I was on that bridge. I looked left. I looked right. I didn't see anybody but me. Yeah. All right, well, listeners' comments coming up very soon. Really, probably next episode. Really, I mean, why not? Right, Hal? Let's do it. Thank you for listening to this episode of Dumbing It Down with Dave. Goodbye, good day, good night, good luck, good riddance, good rats, Godspeed. and great skills. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hope you're all doing well.